What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning there's only one Tyson Fury. Tyson the Gypsy King Fury has reportedly in talks of fighting Charles Prince Martin. You know, let me say this. Charles Martin is not a bad fighter, okay? He's an Al Haymon fighter. He took some L's. I think it's his second loss. I think he's only lost twice to Joshua and Kalnaki, which the Kalnaki fight was sensational. I love that fight. I still have it on DVR. I'll watch it every so often. I like B level or B minus or C plus fighters. Go at it. You know, less defense, more action. You know, it's very much entertaining. I love that fight. However, this is what you ask yourself about Tyson Fury. You ask two things. One, is Charles Martin a step up from Tom Schwartz? Well, off the top of my head, I would say yes without evidence. But without evidence, I wouldn't know because Tom Schwartz hasn't fought anybody else. He hasn't fought Kalnaki. He hasn't fought Charles Martin. He hasn't fought anyone that you could compare him to. He's another Jeff Horn, for Christ's sake. Okay? Jeff Horn got beat by the best in upset by decision Manny Pacquiao, right? But we still don't know how he would rank amongst all the other fighters in the division. We can say the same thing about Tom Schwartz. Tom Schwartz was stopped in 2 rounds, and everyone was like, damn, we never heard of this guy. And that could be a good or bad thing. And in Tyson Fury's case, it was a very good thing, okay? So I would say Charles Martin is a step up. But second, if you're talking about Anthony Joshua, you have a lot of criticism to talk about this guy. He's a bum. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. Then why are you fighting a guy or choosing to fight a guy that Anthony Joshua already beat? You know, and for that matter, Deontay Wilder's done the same thing. You know, you fight Dominic Breazeale. You didn't have to fight Dominic Breazeale. You know, oh, he was his mandatory. Okay, well, how many mandatories have you had to really defend against in the years of 4 years of being a champion? You know, you look at these things and you look at the criticism for these fighters, but then yet you criticize a guy that has already beaten a guy that you are looking to fight. Perhaps you should stop talking and criticizing about that fighter and just fight the available fighters in front of you. That would be my counterpunch and my recommendations from Tyson Fury, because if he ends up fighting Charles Martin, the first thing people are going to say is like, well, damn, Joshua beat this guy years ago. And Tyson Fury, you know, according to Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua is a bum. So you can't make Charles Martin that good of an opponent when he's already been beaten by a guy that you talk shit about, you know? And the same thing for Mr. Wilder, you know? And the truth be told, to counterpunch this whole equation in the heavyweight division, both Wilder and Fury are playing catch up. Let's just be real. You know, Fury was out a long time, as we know. He comes back and he fights two tune-ups, which means nothing. And Deontay Wilder, which he received a draw. Since that, Deontay Wilder's fought Dominic Breazeale, turned down $120 million or $100 million to fight Joshua. Fury has fought Tom Schwartz, and that's it. So really, these guys have a lot of catching up to do. They have a lot of making up to do, and I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But it's one of these things where you have to honestly accept what level you're on, where you're at in your career. This is just another get back fight for Tyson Fury. He's catching up. He's fighting the Charles Martins. You know, he should fight the Kalnakis and the Brian Jennings and like Oscar Rivas. You know, those kind of guys should be fighting. They should not be fighting guys like Charles Martin. They should be fighting those undefeated guys that you have heard of, not the undefeated ones that you haven't. Okay, so it just looks real weird when you have a lot of criticism from Tyson Fury towards a guy like Anthony Joshua when Anthony Joshua's already beaten these guys, you know. And then really, these guys just need to realize that all these fighters or possible threats to where they are in the division. Okay? Anthony Joshua's the poster child of that shit. He's the poster child of that. Because, he had his position taken by Andy Ruiz, which was a guy that was a replacement. Okay? And Tyson Fury, that's not his first thing. His first guess was Jarrell Miller. And I'm thinking, okay, what happened to Jarrell Miller? Maybe he's not out of his probationary period. I don't know. But for him fighting Charles Martin, I think that would be good. Now, the thing is, what people shouldn't do, if he does fight Charles Martin and he goes in there and Charles Martin gives him a tough fight and it ain't 2 rounds, because that was the final round it took for Anthony Joshua to knock out Charles Martin, 2 rounds. If it doesn't go 2, let's say it goes 10 or 11 or 12 rounds, and it's a tough fight. It's a tougher fight than Fury anticipated, because Charles Martin is a tough guy. He got hit with all types of punches from Kaunaka. He didn't go down. In fact, he covered up, but he fought back. So if Tyson gets in a firefight with this guy and he finds himself in trouble a couple times, but he still wins, don't think that he can't beat Anthony Joshua. Okay? So, and that's the whole thing. And, for that token, for the same reason, you can't say that, Deontay Wilder will go in there and just wipe out Joshua because Andy Ruiz done it. Because these styles make fights, people. People don't fight 2 guys the same way. It doesn't work like that. And if they did, you know what they would be called? They would be called one-dimensional. And one-dimensional fighters get knocked out faster than any other fighters. But one-dimensional fighters are seldomly not champions. Okay? So, but back to the initial conversation about Fury fighting Martin, I think it's a very good fight. I think it's a step up. I don't know how big of a step than Tom Schwartz, but I would like to see it. Why not? They want an American fighter, ESPN does, to showcase him. That is a good choice. What do I think about it? I think that Tyson Fury can outbox anyone if he stays, if he stays in his lane and that person's not really an attacker or an aggressive fighter, But it does look good. I have no objections to it. I just would care less to hear about the shit talk when he's already been beaten by the guy you're talking shit about. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Tyson Fury taking on Charles Martin. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.